Am I the idiot for not stating why certain members of my family weren't invited to my wedding? Throwaway, but I'm 99% sure the family will find this anyway. Recently, my boyfriend, male 25, and I, male 24, of 4 years recently got married. I come from a very traditional, if not stereotypical, Latino family. The gossip is deeply ingrained in the whole family. I have about 7 uncles, one of which is also bisexual like myself. He got married some time ago, and when he sent out invites to the whole family, a large majority of them declined because of religious reasons, which really saddened him. I kept this in mind when it came time to send out my invitations, and those particular family members did not get one. About a week ago, my husband and I went to my dad's house for the annual family reunion. I really didn't want to go because I knew in the back of my mind this absolutely was going to get around, despite the lack of posting on any social media. But my dad and mom really wanted me there. They are very supportive and the be loud and proud type people, and I love them to death for it, even if it's a little obnoxious. The spirit is what counts though, right? I voiced this concern to my dad, and he was very insistent that if poop goes south, he'll be right there to laugh about it. The entire time, my husband and I are getting some intense side-eye. The family that didn't attend didn't even try to hide the fact that they were whispering about my husband and I. About 2 hours later, as I am 6 or so whiskeys in, the straight uncles took initiative and decided to ambush me and ask why they weren't invited. I was polite and reminded them that they turned down the bi uncle's wedding for religious reasons. They responded with at least wanting to be thought about and being invited. I told them that I did think about them and decided they weren't worth the 57 cents postage to be told they weren't going to attend for bigoted reasons. It would be understating to say that their reaction was less than pleased. Poop hit multiple fans. My uncles went off for being compared to a postage stamp. My dad was eating it up. My mom was a little pissy at me for causing a disturbance in her house though, which unfortunately made me question everything at that moment. My grandma was giving me the judges in Spanish look. My husband kind of grabbed my hand and said, "Let's get out of here before you piss off any more people," in a laughing manner, and proceeded to drive us home. My dad sent me a "That's my boy. Good on you for standing up for yourself" text. My mom was still less than thrilled about how things went down. My bi uncle sent me a text saying thank you for standing up for me, but now my relationship with my brothers is strained to hell and I didn't want that. My phone and social media have been blowing the hell up ever since then, but I'm kind of ignoring it though. But I do feel bad for my uncle because he just wants to be close with all his brothers and not just one. So Reddit, am I the idiot for how things went down? Edit. To broadly state this, I have apologized to my uncle for using him as an example in what happened, and I truly didn't mean to make things harder for him with his brothers. I also expressed that it isn't exactly healthy for his well-being to want to put up with them knowing how they feel about him before any of this happened. He kind of remained silent on the topic, so I'm trying to leave it alone and not force it. Now for a few comments before the update. W2S and 1099s are finally done. I have a break to finally post this. As I guessed, the family did indeed find this. Between 7 uncles, one of my cousins likely showed them the post I originally made. It was obviously not received well, lol. Anyways, I'm just going to go down and list order of things or events that have happened. My dad, first off, he wanted me to tell all of you that he loved all the support, and that he wishes to dad all of you as well. His words: "It took 2 of us to make you, and I gotta say I love my work. Any parent that doesn't should never have tried." My mom, she had called me asking why I brought up the events of my uncle's wedding. I told her that I was simply having a good time with my husband and everyone else. That my uncles made the conscious decision to want to start a problem. She got mad and said she just wanted to have a good party. I told her that I didn't want to be attacked for my sexuality, and not inviting blatant bigots to my wedding, but that I'm glad her party meant more to her. We got into a shouting match over the phone. I told my dad what happened and he's livid with her. They got into a fight and now she's staying at my grandma's. I've apologized profusely to my dad, but he's telling me to let it go and that I've done nothing wrong. Above all else, this is what hurts the most. She was always so very supportive of me, and it feels like a massive bombshell was just dropped out of nowhere. My bi-uncle, unbeknownst to me, my husband invited him over so he and I could have a heart-to-heart about what happened. It annoyed me a little bit, but I am glad he invited him over. We talked about the post I made and he saw everyone's comments. According to him, it kind of opened him up to the poop he was just ignoring so he could pretend to have a close bond with all his brothers. At the same time though, he's still not sure what to do from here. We talked for a few hours, and had a good cry and hug about it. Everything is good on that front, and it makes me happy. He'll be seeking therapy to help him deal with his feelings on this. The other uncles, obviously they are livid with me. They couldn't believe that I posted something like that, blasting them on the internet. They said they didn't like being painted the way I posted them. So I just straight up asked them if they thought my bi-uncle was going to hell because of his marriage. To my shock, they had no problem saying yes. They didn't even try to dance around it. In the end, I told them that if they didn't want to be painted as bigots, to lose the religious bigoted act. Plain and simple. My husband has been non-stop trying to comfort me after the shouting match with my mom. He can see the immense pain I'm in. I love that man very much though. He took me out for steak and old fashions the other night to help get me relaxed. That's all folks. Thank you. Edit. Hello everyone. This blew up way bigger than the original post did. Goddamn. I definitely appreciate all the love and support I've received from everyone in the comments. As of this edit, I've decided to put some distance between myself and a lot of family. My dad is in support of this, and will be coming over to my place more often than me going over to his and my mom's to visit. As for everything else, I've got my husband, Magic the Gathering, and a nice bottle of Crown Winter Wheat to help deal with everything else. Seriously, thank you everyone. Words cannot express how awesome all of you are. Comment 1. Stick with the people who clearly support you. Your dad and husband are wonderful, and the fact that your uncle is willing to sit and have a mature conversation with you shows that he's worth having around. Your mom seems to have the preformative "I'll support this until it's not convenient for me to do so" attitude, and I hope she sees the light soon. Comment 2. You're the idiot. While it's understandable that you wanted to stand up against bigotry and exclusion, the way you handled the situation was confrontational and disrespectful towards your uncles. Resorting to sarcasm and comparing their worth to a postage stamp was unnecessary and only escalated the tension. It's important to address bigotry and discrimination, but it's equally important to do so in a constructive and compassionate manner. Engaging in a thoughtful conversation and expressing your disappointment in their actions would have been more effective than using their refusal to attend your uncle's wedding as a weapon against them. Now, for the next story. Am I the idiot for telling my mom's husband that this isn't his house and I'll show him the same respect he shows me? I, male 13, have a stepdad who's a complete idiot. Today I was super hot temperature-wise, so I took off my shirt. My mom's husband / my stepdad, Matt, started yelling at me that it's inappropriate to have my shirt off in front of my little sister. He called me a perverted creep. I said to screw off. I had my shirt off all the time before he moved in, last year. He told me that as long as I live in his house, I follow his rules. Here's the thing. My mom has told me several times that his name isn't on the lease, and he doesn't pay bills. So I told him, actually, this isn't your house. It's my mom's house, so I'll follow her rules, and she doesn't have a rule that says I can't be shirtless. So either start paying rent or shut your mouth and stop trying to dictate what I do with my body. He blew up saying how disrespectful I am, that I can't treat my own father that way. I told him that my father is dead, and I'll show him the same amount of respect he shows me. Then I went to my room. Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe I shouldn't have said that, so I'm not sure how to feel. Am I the idiot? Now for a few comments before the update. Not the idiot. You're a kid and he shouldn't call you a perverted creep for being shirtless. And I'm sure your little sister thinks absolutely nothing about it anyways. Could you have been nicer to him? Maybe. But I think you're justified in everything you said. Good on you for defending yourself. Comment 2. Not the idiot. Who calls a kid a perverted creep anyway? Your mom is a bit of an idiot for telling you that your stepdad's name's not on the lease. She should choose a partner who treats her and her family with respect and kindness, and whom she doesn't feel the need to discredit in front of her children. Your stepdad sounds like an a-hole, but so does your mom. Now for the update. A lot of stuff has happened these past few days. A lot of you suggested getting in touch with my grandparents, so I did. I emailed my grandma, and she came to my last wrestling match, which was yesterday. My grandma took me to get ice cream and I explained everything. What happened in my last post as well as everything else that's been going on this past year. She agrees with a lot of you guys that my mom is probably being abused and needs help. We're looking into options for groups and stuff that'll help her out, though my grandma's doing most of it. For now, my little sister and I are moving in with my grandma, just to make sure Matt doesn't try anything. Mom and Matt do not have a choice, and my grandma is an amazing wordsmith, so she'll make sure nobody tries to stop us. Basically, it's all working out so far. Thanks to y'all for all your advice, and all the awards. And to those of you who thought it was fake BC 13-year-olds don't write like that, thank you. I appreciate the compliments on my writing skills. Comment 1. You, young man, are amazing and will go very far in life. The way you stood up to that man set a brilliant example to your sister, and I'm glad you're trying to get yourself and your mom hopefully out of a terrible situation. Comment 2. You're the idiot. Wow, you really think you're entitled to disrespect and belittle your stepdad just because you don't like him? Regardless of whether his name is on the lease or if he pays the bills, he is a part of your family now, and that deserves some basic respect. Sure, he may have overreacted by calling you a perverted creep, but it's important to address conflicts in a mature and respectful manner. Instead, you chose to escalate the situation by insulting him and disrespecting his role in your family. Now, for the next story. Am I the idiot for leaving my sick husband at home? My male 25 husband, Harry, male 26, has been in bed with the flu for about a week now. He's quite miserable, headache, nausea, fairly high fever, so I've been working from home to be able to keep an eye on him throughout the day. It was my younger siblings, twins, 9, birthday on Saturday, and my husband and I were invited over to my parents' house to celebrate. On Friday, Harry told me he wasn't feeling up to a children's birthday party, which is understandable. I wouldn't necessarily want to be around rowdy children if I was sick either. So I decided I'd go there on my own, bring over the presents, stay for an hour or two and be back home before dinner. To be honest, after spending days holed up in our flat taking care of my husband, I was quite grateful for the opportunity to get outside for a few hours. When I told Harry as much, he didn't comment on it, but he did seem a bit grumpy afterwards. Saturday came and I drove over to my parents' house in the afternoon. They live about 20 minutes away. I left Harry with some painkillers, tea and tissues on the nightstand so he wouldn't need to get up while I was gone. I told him he could call me in case something happened, though. The party went great, and I got back home after about 2 hours without any calls from Harry, so I assumed everything had gone well. However, he was frowning all evening, and when I asked whether he was alright, he called me selfish for leaving him alone and accused me of not caring about his well-being. He told me I should have stayed home with him instead of having fun on my own while he was miserable. He has since been giving me the silent treatment whenever I tried to talk to him about it. It's been a few days and I thought he'd have calmed down by now, but he's still sulking and I'm starting to wonder whether his reaction is reasonable and I'm the AH here. There's no updates, so here's a few comments. Not the idiot. The flu sucks, but your husband is an adult and he can spend a few hours taking care of himself. Perhaps it would be a shock to your husband to learn this, but there are plenty of people out there who will spend an entire week taking care of themselves. Even if they are sick. Sometimes, longer than a week. Your husband sounds immature. And I hope this is just an isolated incident. Comment 2. Hold it. You went to a kid's party knowing your husband was ill. Didn't it occur to you that you might be carrying the virus and pass it to the other guests? You should have stayed home to prevent the spread of whatever he has. Also, are you sure it's the flu? I might be a bit biased at the moment as I'm recovering from a bout of COVID. I used a home test. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to drop a like. It really helps the channel grow. See you next time.